It is great to have you on the Family Goals podcast with David Pollack and Pastor Jay. I'm Joel House, and on this podcast, we want to encourage you to grow closer to God, to strengthen your marriage, and to inspire your family to reach its highest potential. Season 3 is here, and it feels so good to finally be back. Davey and Pastor Jay do a little bit of catching up before diving into Luke 5 as they discussed casting out the nets. Take a listen.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of the Family Goals Podcast with David Pollack and Pastor Jay. We back, baby.
We back.
We back.
I don't know if you wanted us back, but we're back.
Man, I hope our listeners were like eagerly anticipating this return. It's almost like we're casually late to the party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, we were building drama. Yeah.
Building drama, building excitement. So super excited about this season. We're going to try a few things, few new things.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my A game today.
You always bring your A game, except for the Tony Dungy interview. Everything else has been fine.
Man, you're like you won't let that go.
No, not gonna let that one go.
I saw Tony Dungy spoke to the Clemson football team.
Yeah.
And I thought about that.
It's
like this constant reminder.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of speaking. Obviously, he's pretty good at it.
If you want to know what Davey's talking about, go back and listen. I don't know what episode that was, but the Tony Dungy interview. I definitely came in flat, not as sharp as I normally am.
Words were a struggle that day.
Yeah, it was hard to put sentences together.
It's okay. It happens to all of us.
So let's do a little summer catch-up. What's up with the Pollack family?
We're busy.
Yeah.
This is about as busy as we get. I was just telling Woj and Jolyn before, like, I have this from 7 to 9, EA Sports from 10 to 2, workout 2:15 to 3:30, high school football 4 to 6:30, flag football with Leah's group from 7 to 8:30. So it's going to be
That's a full day.
That's a full day. But high school football has been a big contributor. Nicholas is playing 8th grade football. Leah's playing flag football. Now that flag football is a varsity sport, a ton of her and her girlfriends are playing flag football, and I get to coach it.
Are you coaching?
Oh, yeah, which is fun, though. It's been really, really fun. The girls have loved it. And then Lindsay's training and doing her thing, and we got a new puppy. I mean, there's a little white lab to go with Barkley. So we've been slammed. We've been pretty busy.
I mean, I know you've been wanting to coach high school football for a long time.
Yeah.
You've jumped back in this season.
First Friday night was against Oconee County, too.
That's the big rival.
The big rival, which was awesome. It's cool. It's cool to get in the kids' lives. And then it's cool to the X's and O's part. Like, I've coached youth league football for a long time, but there's not a big chess match. But to have a chess match and to try to figure you out, and you have to figure us out, and every game changing and morphing, like, it's something that's very fun. I enjoy that, but it's been awesome. It's been busy, but I love working with Brad Williams, is who I work closest with, and he's one of my better friends in this world anyway. So it's been really cool. What about the house? What have you been up to?
The house. Well, let's see.
Jesse's in high school now.
Jesse's in high school, so
how's that been?
The grandchild, she's loving it.
She's loving it. That's good.
So I normally take her. But you got me up here at 7 a.m., by the way. So the first lady's taking her to school today. Okay. So, but she's great.
We appreciate Family Goals. Appreciate your sacrifice. Thank you.
Yeah. So you'd be proud of me for this.
All right.
So we came back from vacation, into the summer. I'm up to 210. Lost 15 pounds in the last 3 weeks.
What did we do?
Cut creamer out of the coffee.
Okay.
And no soft drinks.
Okay.
And then one cheat day. Now, instead of having sweets and candy and cakes and all that all the time, it's just like Saturdays.
So it's a cheat day?
Cheat day.
You get the whole day?
Not just a meal, a whole day.
Sometimes there might be more than one cheat day. There may be like a cheat weekend.
Okay. I mean, obviously, this is not a diet and nutrition podcast, but I would not support that message. If you're listening and you're wanting to change your ways, that's probably not the best way to do it. But, the roller coaster that is Jonathan Howells and the weight loss.
I thought you would be very supportive of that, very encouraging.
I'm glad you're doing something about it. It's pretty simple. I mean, what you eat in private, you wear in public. So everybody I got a bunch of friends. I told you that one buddy in particular, I won't name his name, Jackson. He's like, I don't eat that bad. I'm like, really? 300 pounds? Okay, sure. Like, but the sweets it's 95% diet.
Yeah,
it's
really
5% workout. So if you want to make changes, cut out some of the bad stuff. And you don't have to do cheat days, but you can also have meals or something that you just don't go nuts. Don't go crazy. Anyways.
I feel like we're in a sweat box in here. Is the air conditioning not working, guys? Like, are we?
It's at 66.
Are we like in a sauna or
No, it's
something?
at 66.
I think it feels good, Woke.
So here's the other thing is the First Lady and I have gotten into some kettlebell workouts.
Oh,
down in
nice.
the basement.
Sweet. Y'all doing that together?
Yeah, doing it together.
Awesome.
So
Who comes up with the workouts?
Well, there's some lady on YouTube.
Already doing it?
Yeah, she's got
Sweet.
it all set up. So we
Awesome.
just watched. Started off with like a 10-minute one, and then we went to another one. The last night hit a 30-minute one.
Okay.
It's good.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
I like it. Making health a priority.
Well, I am getting old, so I'm gonna try to have as great an impact as I can, as long as I can.
Father time is going to win, but you want him to take you kicking and screaming, right?
That's right.
That's what I always say. Take me kicking and screaming.
We've been looking at our parents, and it's when you get old, it's rough. So
We can all relate. We're getting there
Yeah.
every day.
So new season. I like your idea on taking the Bible stories, miracles, Bible stories, talking about it.
Just quick things. I mean, one of my buddies at ESPN started a podcast, Jimmy Dykes, and it's called Coach 'Em Up. It was really cool when he's had Reese Davis on and he had me on to go do it. But it's just like, coach me up on something in the Bible, and they'll pick different things and coach me up on different stories. And it got me thinking about, I mean, you could pick so many stories in the Bible that have such an impact. And I've been teaching my kids now stories in the Bible, and I think it's just a good way to put that in our heart. Remember it. Remember some people's stories. So when our stories come up and things come up, we know how to react, and we've already got an idea of what to do and how to do it.
People remember stories.
Yeah,
And Jesus was the greatest storyteller
he was the man.
of all time. So we're doing this series at church called Hooked, little fishing series. And so I thought today we would start off with the Miraculous Catch. I'm actually doing it this Sunday.
Oh,
But I
nice.
thought this would be some good. Give me some good insights.
Okay,
Like if you say anything really good, it might make it into the message. Sunday.
correct. We can do that. And then if you say anything that I don't like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, let's make sure that doesn't make it.
Yeah.
in.
So we're Luke chapter 5, verse 1 through 5. I'm just going to tell the story,
All right.
and then we'll dive into some points.
All right.
So Jesus is just beginning his earthly ministry, but a huge crowd's following him. They're down just outside of Capernaum, the Sea of Galilee. He's down by the water, and such a huge crowd is coming that he asked Peter, he said, hey, can I get in your boat? So he gets in Peter's boat, pushes him off from the shore a little bit. Now, this is before the disciples had become followers of Jesus. So he teaches the crowd. Peter and his buddies, Peter, Andrew, James, and John, they had been fishing all night and caught nothing, which is a lot like my fishing trips.
That's why I don't fish.
And so they're cleaning their nets off to the side.
Yep, done for the day.
Yeah, they're done for the day. They'd fished all night, caught nothing. Jesus teaches the crowd. And then after he's done, he looks over to Peter and he says, let's put the boat out to some deep water and put the nets down for a catch. He doesn't say, let's go fishing. He says, let's put the nets down for a catch. And of course, Peter and his buddies, they're the experts. They hadn't caught anything all night. They've already cleaned their nets. I mean, they're not.
Why would you do that again?
Yeah.
They're going to have to clean everything again and redo the process of not cleaning off everything and not wanting to fish for the day.
And it's kind of like when people tell me, it's like, Jonathan, you take care of the preaching and you let us handle everything else. I don't know if I ever told you the story. The first time we had the grand opening in Graystone in the old warehouse, one of our kids' rooms was too small. And the next day, it was overcrowded. I was the only person on staff. I'm up there by myself. And so I go to Home Depot and I buy axe. And I said, I'm gonna make this into one big room. And end up knocking the wall down. And then when I go to hit it, the axe bounces back. And come to find out it's a load-bearing wall, and had to get the experts in there to put a beam across the top. And then they said, Jonathan, you take care of the preaching, we'll take care of everything else.
Have you listened to those words over the years?
For the most part. But anyway, I'm sure Peter and the boys didn't want to go fishing again. They were tired, but they do what Jesus says. They put out to the deep water, and they put the nets down for a catch. And they catch so many fish that the nets are about to break. They caught like a record number of fish. So they call their buddies over in the other boat to come help them. They had 2 boatloads of fish, and they come back to the shore. And then it says that Peter bows down and begins to confess his sin. He says, "Woe is me, a sinful man." And then Jesus says, "You guys have been catching fish. I'm going to teach you to catch men." And they left their nets, and they followed Jesus. So pretty amazing story. So I have a couple thoughts. Do you have some thoughts yet?
Yeah, of course.
Of course you
My
do.
small brain always has thoughts.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, the first thing that, again, I'm always, how do I apply stories to my life, and how does it help me grow? First thing, okay, when I'm tired, like they were, and exhausted, do I still listen? Do I still listen when God asks me to do something? Am I still going to be somebody that will absolutely be faithful when I'm tired, when I'm exhausted, when things aren't necessarily going my way?
That's good.
That's number one for me.
I was even thinking along the lines of that is, when you apply it to ministry's hard work. Like fulfilling the Great Commission's hard work.
Yep.
Obeying God is hard work. So you just mentioned how busy your schedule is. Like, you didn't have to do this podcast. And just for the listeners, it is 7 a.m. But that was your idea.
Because it was the only way to get it in.
It's the only way to get it in.
Today, yes.
Because you're so busy, but
yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
And I think another thought's obedience. So if they don't put the nets down, they don't catch the fish. And so obedience comes before the miracle. So if you don't obey God, Jesus says put the nets down for a catch. If they don't put the nets down, they don't catch the fish, and they don't receive the miracle. And I think so many people say, well, I want the miracle first. I want to see God move in my life first, then I'll be obedient to him. But obedience always comes before the miracle, whatever miracle you're looking for.
Do you think it was easier, and I can ask this to all y'all, do you think it was easier to have faith in Jesus now, or was it easier to have faith in Jesus then?
I personally think it was easier then.
Because if you see it physically, I mean, you would think so, yeah.
Like seeing the miracles that Jesus did, like I would think would be so powerful. You'd be like, oh goodness, and especially obviously the resurrection. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be. I've had that conversation before with people. Like, you think it's harder now? Obviously, the world is so different now, and there's so many distractions, and it's hard to know what's right and what's wrong. Like, everybody's got something online that can prove their point to try to persuade you in a different direction. Life was very much simpler then. I don't know. It would have been so awesome to see it. Like, I can feel my faith. I've felt it for a long time, and that's how I know it's real. It's just like the breeze, right? The breeze blows. I don't know the breeze is real, but I can feel the daggum thing, right? So I think it's always interesting when you read these stories, back in the day that have been documented really well and preserved really well. I mean, how cool it would be to just be there and just to see it with your own eyes.
Yeah, I think it was much easier back then. I can't remember the Bible reference or that exact wording, but Jesus says something to the effect of that our faith, greater is your faith who have not seen than those who have seen. So we haven't seen. So he's saying our faith is even greater. But even to the point where when they haul in this huge amount of fish, Peter bows down and says, "Woe is me, a sinful man." Like he's recognizing who Jesus is. And when we compare ourselves to Jesus, we see how holy and how awesome and how amazing he is. We realize how little we are, how sinful we are, how much in need of a Savior that we are. So,
we're missing a little something, just a smidge.
Yeah. I think you could write this down. You taking notes over there?
Yeah. Yeah. You haven't said anything worth taking notes of.
The presence of God reveals our sinfulness. And I think when we're in this world, we're around this world so much, it's just so easy to compare ourselves to other people. And you can always find other people that you're better than.
Always.
Or you think you're better than. But when you compare yourself to Jesus and you're in the presence of God, then you realize just how sinful you are and how in need of forgiveness and how in need of a Savior you have. So I think the other cool thing I thought about the story was that Jesus has dominion over the animals. He can basically tell the animals, jump in these nets. You know what I mean? And it calls me to think about the Exodus and the 10 plagues. God has control of all things. Even something as small as getting a fish to jump in a net. It's pretty powerful. Yep. Pretty powerful thought. Another thought that I had was obedience comes before the reward. So obedience comes before the miracle, but also obedience comes before the reward. Whatever you're going for, and you could probably apply this to eating healthy and exercise and discipline,
Every part of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, obedience all the time, not sometimes, not pick and choose, not justify. But you're right. Like what you said earlier, we can always, and I try to tell my kids this, I coach this, you can always point to someone else about how you're doing it better than them. But like you talked about long time, that's not the standard. That's not the standard by which we hold ourselves to. We can always do that. Are you doing your best? Are you trying your hardest? Not what everybody else is doing. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's talents are different. We could go in Bible stories about that too. I mean, some people have different talents. Some people can really put words together. Some people can really write emails. Some people can walk in a room and talk to people and bring the whole room together. Some people bring light to everything and make things fun and happy. Some people, everybody has these different gifts, these different talents that we can use for better things, but we have to be obedient. We have to be consistent. Like those are all things I think that absolutely come with it.
So when we talk about family goals and helping our kids set their goals, do you give, like when they reach a certain goal, do you give them a reward? Or is there like a built-in reward system? Like if you make 100 baskets, or you bench press so much, or you reach a certain level, do they then get some kind of reward?
We've never done that. No, we've never done that. I'm not opposed to it, but I've never thought about rewarding them for. The reward was, to me, it was doing the work and completing the task and what they wanted to accomplish. But I do think it's funny. I remember just a small example. I remember being in high school, and there was a thing called the 1,000-pound club. And you got a T-shirt when you bench, clean, squatted, when it equaled up to 1,000 pounds, you got a black T-shirt. And I remember vividly getting the black T-shirt and wearing it and it being a big deal. And so I think about that too. I told our high school strength coach that. I was like, hey, we should do that. Like, because whatever helps you work hard, whatever helps you bring pride to what you do. So I don't think it's a bad idea. Some people, I think you can absolutely use rewards. You can use things to help them. It doesn't have to be crazy, big, huge, like a new pair of shoes every time you do something that's really, really expensive. But I think when kids work towards a goal and accomplish something, I do not think a reward's a bad idea. I've seen it work well. I've seen it work positively. What do you think? You think that's something good to do?
Oh, I definitely think so. Instead of, I think parents today are just so quick to give their kids whatever they want, instead of say, hey, if you want that, let's work for it. Let's earn it. Or, say you got a high school kid wanting to buy a car or wanting a car, you say, okay, you put in half, I'll put in half. So whatever you work for, whatever you earn, so you come up with $4,000, I'll come up with $4,000, we'll match it. And then, so you give them an incentive, you give them a reward, you give them something to,
ownership.
To work. Some ownership to where I feel like we're doing a disservice to our kids if we just give them everything and they don't have, we were talking to Jessie. Of course, Jessie's our grandchild. She's spoiled. The kids come home from college one time and they're like, Jessie, you were so spoiled. She's like, I know, right? Like it was a good thing.
At least she knows.
And so we talked to Jessie, this is a couple of years ago, about doing some chores around the house, and she could earn a little money. And she said, "Well, I don't need any money. Y'all pretty much buy me everything that I need. Why would I need any money?"
Did that change your behavior a little bit or no?
Well, we've made some changes. Yeah. We've definitely made some changes. So
for example, like with our house, the chores around the house and the things you do around the house, which that's my wife's thing, by the way. Like her thing is, I like to be active. I like to move. I like to play. I like to do, that's my thing with the kids. I want to teach them those things to be active. Her thing is she wants to teach them to be independent. She does not want Nicholas and Leah to grow up like me. She doesn't want their mommy doing everything for her. Like she has a chore chart every day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And it has, laundry, do your laundry, do X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 every day. So taking out the trash, unload the dishwasher, clean, vacuuming the floor. Like they have all these things every day that they have to accomplish but there's not a reward. And I'm not giving you money. The reward is you get to contribute and be a part of the household. So maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. But for me, it's always like, hey, wait a minute. You live here. Your job is to help mommy. Your job is to help us. Like you cause the mess. We do a food chart every day. Like, what do you want for dinner? And mommy makes sure she gets, Leah's basically, we have a family meeting on Sunday and we sit down and we say, what's Monday's meal? What's Tuesday's meal? What's Wednesday's meal? Like they have a little bit of ownership. Like you're going to eat your food, obviously, because we're picking this together. You have a night you get to pick. And so I don't know. I've never been good with the reward system for it because I've always been like, wait a minute, you get to live here. It's part of the responsibility of living here is helping out.
Yeah, I think different families do different things. When Joel and Julia were in high school, they had their chores, but we wanted them to make good grades.
Yeah.
And so we gave money every week on Friday when the grades came out. They would get, I can't remember what it was, like $5 for an A or $2 for a B, but instead of us just giving them an allowance, it was based upon their grades. We wanted them to make good grades, but then also they didn't get the money if they hadn't done their chores yet. So if the room's not clean, and so this was their way of, they're in school, they're playing sports, so they don't really have too much time to have a job.
Yeah.
Joel did work on Saturdays over at Grayson Motor Company, but this was their spending money. This was their gas money, and so.
And see, we're not there yet.
We're
not there yet with gas money, so that'll be another thing to strike off in the books. But I think grades and sports, if you're like in my household growing up, like my parents said, if I made good grades and I was playing sports and busy all the time, I didn't have to get a job. They would take care of things. And I completely understand and I completely support. Like I get that. Like you've got a lot going on. It's a big commitment now. High school sports are more demanding than they've ever been. And obviously different sports more so than others, but it's not like when I played football in high school. I mean, we used to be up there for a couple hours and you go home. I mean, now you're up there a lot longer and there's a lot more demand. So I understand that. I get that fully. And I think we'll probably be along those lines of, you do good in school, you play sports and you're busy, then I'm not going to make you get a job to add to your plate. But, Joel did Saturdays. That's not a bad idea either. Some weekends and just like the other day, we had our high school, we watched a tape by D-line with me and Coach Brad, and Saturday, a bunch of them couldn't come because they had jobs. Dick's Sporting Goods, Brewster's.
Yeah.
I mean, that they had to go to their jobs and go fulfill their commitment and make their side money that they wanted to use on whatever they wanted to use.
Yeah, I think for the parents with older kids who are in high school and driving, instead of just giving them gas money, like instead of just giving them the credit card, help them do something to earn it. And then if they don't earn it, well, then they don't have the gas money to go wherever they want to go, which isn't a bad thing if they're if they're not able to go somewhere. So one more obvious thing I wanted to point out from this story is that Jesus makes all the difference. So they fished all night and caught nothing. Jesus shows up. Jesus is a part of it. And then they catch this record number of fish. And I was thinking, in our lives, without Jesus, how do we make it? So your marriage, without Jesus at the center, I mean, he's the difference in your marriage. Or your parenting. Jesus makes the difference in your parenting. Or your team. Or your business. Or whatever it is. Like Jesus, he's the one that can make all the difference in the world. That'll preach, won't it?
Yeah. Not like Sunday. You got an amen out of me on Sunday.
That's pretty good.
You were bringing that heat.
So what's our takeaway? Let's wrap this up. And what's our application? What's our big takeaway of all the things? Maybe for you.
I think no matter the situation, whether it's a storm, whether it's a good day, a bad day, consistency, show up, do our part. Obviously, keep Jesus at the center, and everything will be just fine.
Yeah,
miracles will happen. Actually, amazing things will happen.
The miracles will happen.
Yeah,
I like to call it up the middle obedience. I mean, kind of like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Like just being faithful, just being obedient. You know, people want the Hail Marys.
Yeah.
But if you're just being obedient every day and doing what it is that God has called you to do, you're going to see the rewards. You're going to see the miracles. You're going to see the difference.
And don't look around at everybody else's. Keep your head down, work, go get it. Not everybody's story is the same. Not everybody's life's the same. Don't want it. It'd be boring as crap if everybody was the same.
Yeah.
Be the best version. Be the best version of you. Be the version of you that God calls you to be.
I mean, you don't need to be comparing yourself to me.
No. Way bigger, way stronger, more athletic, faster. We did the race a couple years ago.
Hey, you think you can end this first episode with was it 3 claps and a Ric Flair?
Yeah, sure. We've done
2 claps. 2 claps.
We've done that. We've done that before. I feel like I did that last time. I feel like you should do it this time. Woo! Oh.
You showed your age on that one.
Did I have trouble getting it out?
Yeah. It's like Grammy trying to blow out her birthday candles.
Grammy didn't have enough hot air. Are you comparing me to Grammy?
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm sorry, that was recent.
Grammy blowing out the birthday candles. That's amazing.
We can learn a lot from this passage. Where is God calling you to cast out your nets? Are you being obedient in doing so? It's so easy to get discouraged when we're sharing the gospel without any fruit or constant rewards. But God calls us to be faithful and obedient and to trust Him. Obedience comes before the reward. Let me say that again. Obedience comes before the reward. And some rewards we may not see until years to come. I've heard dozens of stories from faithful believers casting out their nets with no fruit until years later. And some rewards we won't even see until we reach heaven. But how much more sweet, how much more special will that day be when we finally get to see the fruits of our labor? I encourage you to keep striving to be obedient to where God is calling you to go. Thank you again for listening to the Family Goals podcast, and we'll catch you next week.